Most people assume that if you want serious cutting power, you need a machine that takes up half the garage and requires a dedicated industrial power hookup. But then you run into something like this little Miller unit, and it honestly makes you rethink that whole idea. It is surprisingly compact, barely 9 inches tall, which is a massive win if you are constantly moving between different job sites or just trying to keep a workspace from feeling like a cluttered mess. What really catches you off guard is how it handles power. You can plug this thing into a standard household outlet, or if you have access to a 240-volt line, it just shifts gears and gives you that extra punch. It is that kind of flexibility that makes it feel less like a piece of heavy machinery and more like a reliable tool you can actually grab and go. Now here is the thing about the performance. It is rated for about 3/8 of an inch of steel, and while that might sound modest on paper, in practice, it slices through that thickness with a clean, steady arc that feels incredibly controlled. It is not trying to be a massive industrial torch, but for fabrication work or quick repairs, it is more than enough. The inverter technology inside is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, keeping the weight down while making sure the arc stays stable, even when the power supply is not exactly perfect. You will notice the difference immediately if you have ever used those older transformer-based machines that weigh a ton and struggle to keep a consistent cut. One thing to keep in mind, though, is the duty cycle. When you are pushing it hard on a 120-volt circuit, you are going to hit that thermal limit sooner than you might like. It is not a deal-breaker by any means, but it does mean you have to be a bit more methodical with your cuts, rather than just going full throttle for hours on end. The 12-foot cable gives you a decent amount of reach, though there are definitely times when you wish it were just a few feet longer so you could get around a larger project without dragging the whole unit with you. It is a small gripe, but it is there. The build quality feels exactly like what you would expect from a company that has been doing this for decades. It feels solid, the dials have a nice, tactile resistance to them, and it just has that rugged, American-made reliability that is getting harder to find these days. It is not the cheapest option on the shelf, and you are definitely paying a premium for that Miller name and the engineering that comes with it. But if you value a machine that starts up every single time you pull the trigger and doesn't leave you guessing about the quality of your cut, it is hard to argue with the results. It is a specialized tool, sure, but for the person who needs to cut metal without turning their shop into a power plant, this thing is pretty much the gold standard. It is compact, it is smart about how it uses power, and it just works. If you can live with the shorter duty cycle on standard household power, it is honestly a tough one to beat.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.